Have you ever met
Interesting.
someone who asks
What
a
is it?
simple
Let me see
question,
that.
then seems far
is
more
just a
interested
joke.
in watching your
How will you
reaction than
react?
hearing your answer? Or maybe you've noticed someone who suddenly becomes quiet for a few days, only to see who reaches out first. Most people assume this behavior is dramatic, insecure, or even manipulative. But psychology suggests something much more surprising. What if these small tests aren't really about controlling other people? What if they're quietly searching for something they've never been able to trust? And why do some people do this without even realizing it? Psychologists have noticed this pattern for decades, yet almost nobody talks about what is happening beneath the surface. People who secretly test others usually aren't trying to play games. They're trying to answer a question that has followed them for years. Can I really trust this person? The strange part is that the answer often begins long before they meet you. It begins in experiences that taught them trust could disappear without warning. Imagine growing up in a home where love felt unpredictable. Some days you received praise and attention, other days you were ignored or criticized for reasons you didn't understand. Nothing felt consistent. Over time, your brain learns to stop relying on promises alone. Instead, it starts collecting evidence. You become someone who believes actions more than words, because actions feel harder to fake. That pattern doesn't magically disappear in adulthood. It quietly follows you into friendships, romantic relationships, and even the workplace. Instead of asking directly whether someone cares, you might wait to see if they notice you've been unusually quiet. Instead of expressing disappointment, you may give people opportunities to reveal who they really are. To everyone else, these moments seem random, but inside your mind, they're small experiments designed to make the world feel safer. This doesn't mean someone is a bad person or intentionally trying to manipulate everyone around them. In many cases, it means their mind has learned that trust should be earned carefully, not given freely. The tests often happen automatically, without any conscious plan. They're less about judging other people and more about protecting themselves from getting hurt again. If these ideas resonate with you, consider subscribing. This channel explores the hidden psychology behind everyday human behavior, and there's always more to discover. But that's only the beginning of the story. The first secret test that many people use happens during the most ordinary conversations, and most of us never notice it's happening until it's already revealed something important. The first hidden test often happens during ordinary conversations. Someone shares a small opinion, a personal story, or a minor problem. It seems casual, but they're watching more than they're talking. They want to see how you respond. Imagine two coworkers having lunch. One admits they're nervous about an upcoming presentation. The other listens, asks a thoughtful question, and remembers the conversation later. To most people, it's a normal chat, but to someone who secretly tests others, that small moment reveals whether you can be trusted. Psychology shows that trust is built through consistent actions, not big promises. That's why people who secretly test others pay attention to small behaviors that most people overlook. Another common test happens when someone takes longer to reply to a message. Sometimes they're busy, other times they're quietly watching your reaction. Will you become impatient, or will you give them space? Your response often tells them more than your words. The irony is that these silent tests can create confusion. One person believes they're protecting themselves, while the other has no idea they're being tested. But conversations are only the beginning. The next hidden test appears when someone suddenly becomes distant, and the psychology behind it is even more surprising. One of the most misunderstood tests happens when someone suddenly becomes distant. They reply less, stop starting conversations, or seem unusually quiet. Most people assume they've lost interest, but sometimes they're simply waiting to see who notices. Imagine two close friends who talk every day, then one suddenly goes silent. Deep down, they may be asking, if I stop reaching out, will they come looking for me? They're not only testing attention, they're testing whether the relationship matters. This pattern often develops after one-sided relationships. Maybe they were always the first to call, apologize, or make plans. Instead of asking if they're valued, they quietly step back and watch what happens. The surprising part is that these silent tests rarely bring peace of mind. If no one reaches out, they feel rejected. If someone does, they may still question whether it was genuine. The search for certainty never truly ends. This doesn't mean they're trying to manipulate people. In many cases, they're protecting themselves from getting hurt again. But these hidden tests often create the very distance they fear. And that's not the deepest test of all. The next one happens when someone reveals a small weakness, and the reason behind it surprises most people. Another hidden test happens when someone reveals a small weakness. They might admit a mistake, mention an insecurity, or share something slightly embarrassing. It seems like simple honesty, but they're quietly watching your reaction. Will you judge them, ignore them, or accept them? Imagine meeting someone who says they've always struggled with confidence. They don't explain much. Instead, they notice how you respond. Do you laugh, change the subject, or listen with understanding? That single moment tells them whether opening up feels safe. Psychology shows that trust usually grows in small steps. People rarely share their biggest fears first. They reveal something minor and wait to see what happens. If they're met with kindness, they're more willing to trust. If they're criticized or embarrassed, they quickly pull away. The surprising part is that people who secretly test others often expect rejection before it happens. Because of that, they notice tiny reactions that most people overlook. A careless joke or a dismissive comment can leave a lasting impression, even if no harm was intended. But these silent tests often create confusion. The other person doesn't know they're being evaluated, so misunderstandings grow. One person is searching for safety, while the other has no idea a test is taking place. And this leads to the biggest question of all. Why do some people feel the need to test everyone they meet? The answer reveals the hidden pattern connecting every behavior we've explored so far. The biggest surprise is that people who secretly test others usually aren't searching for perfection. They're searching for safety. Every delayed reply, small confession, or moment of silence is really asking one question: can I trust you? That question often comes from past experiences, not the present. Imagine someone who has been betrayed before. Even in a healthy relationship, part of their mind stays alert, watching for signs that history might repeat itself. The fear feels real, even when the danger isn't. The irony is that trust rarely grows through silent tests. It grows through honest communication and consistent actions. No relationship can pass a test it doesn't know it's taking. If you recognize yourself in these patterns, it doesn't mean you're weak. It may simply mean your mind learned to protect itself after being hurt. Understanding that pattern is the first step towards changing it. Sometimes the greatest changes begin the moment you finally understand yourself. Once you notice these hidden patterns, you'll start seeing them everywhere. If this video gave you a new perspective, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you'd like to explore more hidden patterns of human behavior, consider subscribing for future videos. Until next time, stay curious.